We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Scherer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
And the other thing, I mean, as far as individuals that are in the purchase markets, they're out there looking for opportunities for their first purchase. If they have had a pre-approval from a month or two ago, really going back and retaking a look at that pre-approval, because that is directly the fact that the interest rates have dropped directly impacts your buying power. Don't you agree?
100%.
So how quickly can you actually offer a pre-approval to these clients?
30 minutes. I mean, we can turn around pre-approvals extremely quickly. And what we do, we don't just give you a pre-approval and say, hey, have fun. We do a whole total cost analysis for you, where we put all your different options side by side in a presentation, really easy to use, really easy to see. Do I do PMI? Do I do no PMI? Do I put 20% down? Do I put 15% down?
Just give me a 30-second recap on PMI.
Private mortgage insurance. If you put down less than 20% on your first mortgage, it's required, no matter what. There's a policy that has to be put on yours. No benefit to the consumer besides the fact that now lenders will give you less than 20, a mortgage less than 20% down, but it has to be paid. You can pay it two different ways. You can pay it as a line item on your mortgage statement, okay? Or you take a little bit higher of an interest rate, which is tax deductible, mortgage interest.
Absolutely.
A little bit higher of an interest rate, and have no monthly payment, and you go off of PMI. I think what happened on the Cape is similar to kind of what happened here, and but you're telling me it happens essentially year in and year out, but that the first quarter of the year is typically when the biggest drop in home prices down the Cape, correct?
Yes.
And sales.
Yes. I call it the Q1 dip.
Yeah.
If you're going to be looking for a house, you got to get hip and do the dip, because the right time to be out there looking isn't, we're going to start looking in April.
Right.
The prices go down in Q1 in 80% of the years. Sales go down every year for the last more than this century.
Right.
So it's the same for sellers. If you really want to sell, they say, well, we'll put our house on in May. You've missed a lot of buyers who should be out there or are out there.
Right. So your advice is to, as of Thanksgiving, is probably when you should get the kids in the car and go check out the foliage down the Cape, because that's really where you're going to get the best deal, and you'll probably close sometime
because
in Q1.
There are less buyers out there looking. So the houses are there. Fewer buyers means you have a better shot, and it is a good time to look.
I've got a great strategy for presenting a property and getting it out to market. One of those elements is obviously multiple open houses. People have busy schedules. They can't just make it to one on Sunday.
Right.
Your best buyer might be busy that Sunday. So have one on Saturday and Thursday or Tuesday as well. Just
mix it up a little bit.
Mix it up a little and invite those neighbors.
And you also have professional photos that you do, wonderful sort of floor plan layouts, etc. Because let's face it, a lot of the buyers' searches start online. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, first impressions are everything. You need to have the best photography. You need to have your place in tip-top condition, staged. It's your only chance.
Depersonalized. We talk about that all the time. I think that was a big factor. Don't you agree, Erin?
Huge. Even if it's not exactly the way you live day to day, which, let's face it, it's not.
Right.
But we need to be able to present it in
once
its best light.
Once we declutter our house, I look around and I go, I might want to stay here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like this.
Now the interest rates are, we're not quoting rates, but in their low fours, 4 to low fours.
Right.
And I think most projections are that in the course of the next year and a half, you're going to be in the 5s.
Right.
So just running numbers. You've ran these numbers with me. I just want to share it with the listeners. If you are applying for a $250,000 mortgage and your interest rate is theoretically at 4.125, your monthly mortgage principal and interest is $1,210.90.
Yeah, $1,200.
$1,200. If you go to 5.2%, you're at $1,500.
Right.
That's roughly a $300 differential per month, which translates to I don't know, $3,500 annually. Over a course of 30 years, you're talking about $105,000
just because the rates ticked up a percentage point.
So that's what we're talking about when you put it in perspective in terms of what is the cost of waiting, as opposed to getting your pre-approval today by calling 855-4-ASK-RIC.
Yeah, give me a call.
And have him take a look at you and say, well, are you renting today? How much are you paying for rent today? How much can you afford to buy today? And put it all, sort of do your financial plan, because I don't call you a mortgage broker. I call you a mortgage planner. I think you call yourself a mortgage planner, because that's what you really do. You look at someone's big picture and you go, okay, here's where you're renting. Here's what you can afford. And if you're planning on refinancing, does it make sense for you to refi, so on and so forth? But really, the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you wait a year, it's going to cost you about $104,000 over the course of the...
That's crazy.
That is nuts.
One of the things, I had an agent from Medway call me yesterday and asked me to do a rent versus own analysis, which I do. It's really easy. And his scenario was his buddy, he was trying to make him grow up a little bit. Peter Pan, you got to stop renting. Now it's time to buy.
Right.
And what I easily showed him was at $1,300 in rent, and what that means to him, he can buy a $250,000 condo. And I showed him the difference. Now, the $250,000 condo costs him $1,650. Okay, not $1,300.
Mm-hmm.
But when you break it all down, his overall cost was still $1,300, because the part of that is paying down principal. Okay, creating wealth. And the other part was tax deductions. And I mean, the government gives us one of the greatest tax deductions is mortgage interest. So you take that out of it. So at the end of the day, he's living in a $250,000 condo that he owns himself. And it was like $7,000 down payment. If you know anybody that's renting that they have, decent credit, if they don't have a down payment, people can take a loan against their 401k.
Their family can gift to them, can't they?
Family can call mommy and daddy. Give me some money, and you can get a gift for your down payment.
Mm-hmm.
You can again, obviously save it. There's some communities that offer down payment assistance. We can help you with that. Again, Mass Housing will do a 3% down loan, FHA 3.5% down, VA and USDA 0 money down.
Exactly.
So there are options here. So it's again, we keep beating this drum, but it's going to cost you a lot of money to wait, to delay.
And we're myth busting. You don't need 20% to buy a house.
Right.
That's really, really key.